to have a theme for the next couple of weeks connected with our fifth chakra. I've talked quite a lot in the past about the third chakra, the heart chakra, the sacrum, some of the lower chakras I've mentioned quite a lot. I've mentioned less this fifth chakra, but it's a very important center because it's one where we can become very much aware of our own consciousness as an instrument that we can use to, that we can learn to use. We're all aware of when our minds might wander around a little bit. And with the fifth center, we learn to actually gain more control directly over what we do with our minds as well as with our bodies. Some of the words that Heinz Grill uses in his book, The Soul Dimension of Yoga, are that we should practice with mental pictures in watchful presence, and that we can, with that, less instinctive habits. We can notice when certain instinctive habits like holding our breath, tensing up certain parts of the body come into play. And when we're doing it more out of making mental pictures of the movements that we want to do and being very present. So very watchful over our own bodies. So let's start in a standing position with the sun prayer. So let's just start in a conscious awareness of our own standing position. We've got the feet placed on the ground. We've got a good upright posture, and particularly the head. The head is held very high. If we want to be watchful and alert, we need to keep the head high. Let's remember this for our first round. Take the hands together. Take the arms up. We keep the head high in a kind of watchful presence. Let's come down and again keep the head free. Then take the right foot back. Form the base with the half moon. The head held high, and you can grow through the body. Come into the plank. Take the knees down and hollow your back. Take the chest and the face down and slide along the ground and open into the Cobra. Push into the downward dog, keeping the head still free, even though it's between the arms. And then take the right foot forward. Take the arms above the head. Lengthen up, keeping the head free. And the other foot forward, looking towards the ground. Come up into the standing half moon, keeping the head free from the body. And take the hands down. So clear mental pictures with watchful presence. Hands together. Take the arms up. Looking towards the ground. Left foot back. Coming up with the arms. Come into the plank, keeping the head in that watchful position. Chest, face down. Open into the Cobra. Push back into the downward dog. And take the left foot forward. Opening up your body. Head staying in that watchful position. Other foot forward. Come up once again and grow. And take the hands down. So there's all sorts of things that we can watch if we're having this theme of watchfulness. Let's just observe the breath. Let's do a few movements with the arms, but let's really observe where we can feel the breath flowing in our lungs. So you take the arms up. It's not a question of manipulating the breath, but being watchful. Take the arms down again. How does the breath respond as we rise up and as we come down? Taking the arms up and down. So when we become more watchful, we can feel this natural coordination between movement and breath. Let's do another round of the sun prayer. Taking the hands together, we can watch the breath. We can allow it to flow in and take the hands down. We can allow the breath to flow out. Take the right foot back. Being watchful of the breath. Come into the plank. Take the knees down. Hollow the back, face down. Open into the Cobra. Watching the breath. Push into downward dog. Right foot forward. Watching the breath. And the other foot forward. Coming up once again. Growing a little bit more. And take the hands down. Let's continue to watch the breath, but let's put a little bit more active stretching into the middle region of the body at the same time. Stretching up higher and watching the breath. Take the hands down, look towards the ground. Left foot back, forming the base with the legs. Stretch a little bit more actively now, watching the breath. Then take the hands down, come into the plank. Take the knees down, chest and face down, slide along the ground. Watching the breath. Push into downward dog. Left foot forward. Grow up into the half moon and stretch a bit more actively, watching the breath. And the other foot forward. Coming up once again. And take the hands down. Mental picturing in watchful presence. There are quite a lot of, well, all of the movements really, the breath will naturally change with the movement. Let's just do the cosmic prayer, still being in this watchful presence of our breath and how the breath naturally changes with the arm movements. Take the right hand in the left, the beginning, then the readiness, then the growth to the flower, and the wide openness to the light, turning to the center in appreciation and devotion. You can watch the breath. The beginning lies in the readiness to grow like a flower, wide open to the light, turning to the center in appreciation and devotion. The beginning lies in the readiness to grow like a flower, wide open to the light, turning to the center in appreciation and devotion. And just relax again. So these two sequences, the sun prayer, the cosmic prayer, they're both rhythmic sequences that can naturally help the breath to come into a more flowing rhythm. Let's move now to something a bit stronger, the warrior. You might want to take your socks off for this one. And we'll do warrior 2. So you can take your right foot to point towards the end of your mat. Keep your left foot pointing forwards. And then bend your right knee directly over the ankle, keeping the hips open. You start to feel quite a powerful tightening down in this pelvic region. But let's keep the upper body open and upright so that we can keep that sense of a watchful alertness. You can raise your arms up. Watchful, alert presence. You can observe down below that contraction in the pelvic region and that clear presence in your head. Return again. Change over to the other side. Take that left knee down so you can observe that tightening down below and keep that head really high and free in an alert watchfulness. Breath flowing. Come back down again. Okay, this time we're going to add a twist into the movement. Turn your right foot to face out again. Come back into the position, taking the hips right the way down. And take your arms up above the head. This time we can bring in some more active mental picturing. You need to mentally picture, before you do the movement, how your hips stay open as they are now, but your upper body is going to twist towards that right leg. So this is a more intricate movement and it needs the ability to clearly picture what it is we have to do. Return again and straighten up. Lower the arms, change the legs around. So we keep the hips facing open forwards. Quite a tightening happens in this whole region of the pelvis and sacrum. So we need to keep a clear mental picture now that the hips face outwards while we twist the upper part of the body around to face over the bent leg. The breath stays flowing freely. We remain with that clear mental picture and watchful, alert presence. Open up once again and straighten up your legs. Clasp your fingers behind your back and roll down and hang forwards. And then return again. So do you like to sit down on your mat? And this position's a little bit complicated. Can you bend your right foot inwards so it comes towards you? And you take hold of your left foot with your right hand. So it's a bit like when we do the sitting twist. And you need to straighten up your back quite actively and then stretch your arms out into a horizontal line while you're holding that opposite foot. So your body's making the shape of a cross a vertical line with the spine, and a horizontal line with the arms. Okay, let's try that on the other side. So you take your right foot over your left knee, grab hold of the right foot with the left hand. The spine comes into an upright position and also a twist. Then you raise your arms and your right leg. So we make this cross shape with the vertical line of the spine and the horizontal line of the arms. And return again. So let's do it again. Now that you know what to do, we can bring more consciousness into the movement. So our theme is not to practice too much out of instinctive behaviour, which might be that we're holding the breath, or that we're clenching our jaw, or tensing our shoulders. All sorts of habits can come in, but that rather we have a clear mental picture, and that is that we make a cross shape, spine and arms, and that we're very upright, clear mental picture with this alert, watchful presence. So you can straighten up your spine right from the start, and then raise your foot and your arms. And let's hold it for a little bit longer this time. Mental picturing in watchful presence. We picture the cross, the vertical line of the spine and the horizontal line of the arms. Picturing the cross. Come back down. Let's change over to the other side. Take the left foot with the right hand. First of all, make sure that your spine is in the upright position and twisting. Then you can come into the movement. And we picture the shape of the cross, remaining in this alert, watchful presence. And come back down again. So we'll come to another position that needs quite a lot of concentration. It needs concentration both in the physical sense, down in the lower chakras, and it also needs mental concentration. And this is the balancing head to knee position. Even the starting position can be quite tricky. If you take hold of your feet and then gradually start to come back, you can gradually lean back until the feet come off the ground. Let the breath flow so we can remain in this watchful presence, free breath. Okay, come back down again. So I'm going to give you the mental picture for this position so that you can hold that rather than the instinctive behavior. The instinctive behavior I will show you. I see this very, very often with people trying to come up, pushing up, clenching the teeth, holding the breath. That's what happens instinctively. So I give you the mental picture, which is that we want to rise upwards into a vertical line, both through the spine and also through the legs. So we start with that clear mental picture of uprightness from the base upwards. We're rising up through the spine. We're rising up through the legs. And we always hold on to that mental picture. Okay, so do you like to take hold of your feet? Once again, you can take them separately, or if you're more flexible, you can bend your, you can take your hands right around your feet in front of them and clasp the fingers, but normally it's easier to take the feet separately. And come into this starting position with the feet off the ground. Now make that clear mental picture before you start. We're going to make a vertical line that rises up from the base of the spine upwards. The breath stays free, and keeping that watchful presence, you bring the body into the mental picture that you've already formed. Keep the breath flowing. Keep the neck comfortable. The spine grows. The legs grow. Free breath. And then come back down again. So I'm going to finish with one last exercise. This is the Cobra backward bend. So the Cobra needs a little bit of warming up. So we'll spend a bit of time preparing for this position. Would you like to lie on your fronts? And can you become aware, first of all, of your sacrum at the lower part of your spine, this big flat bit of bone right down at the base. If you imagine that pressing more into the ground, then you can also feel your pubic bone pressing into the ground, and just come up off the ground with your upper body as if you're pressing your sacrum down. Come back down again. So one instinctive behaviour pattern in the Cobra is to hold the breath. Just be aware of your breathing. And once again, we press the Cobra down, and with free flowing breath, we come gently up. Sacrum presses down, body rises up. Come back down again. Gentle, free breathing. One more time. Sacrum presses down, body can nice and easily come up into the Cobra. Okay, come back down again. So take your hands to point backwards. Let's take our awareness to the middle section of the back now. Pushing upwards, opening the chest, directing the hands backwards. This is more strenuous. Come back down. Once again, be aware of the breathing. Let's see if we can keep the breath flowing. And then once again, come up, opening the chest. Okay, come back down again. One more time. This time you can clasp your fingers together and really push your arms back and push up a bit more powerfully. Still breathing. And come back down again. Okay, let's just push back into child's pose. And come back up onto your hands and your knees. And let's do this movement that we do as part of the Sun Pro. We've already done it this morning, of coming into like the cat position with your back really hollowed, really, really hollowed. Taking the face and the chest down towards the ground. So you can feel that stretching through the upper spine, and then slide right the way forwards. And now you can come right up into the Cobra, stretching through the upper spine. Breath flowing. Okay, come back down again. And this time we'll do another preparation for the Cobra. You can take your hands forwards and you can open up your chest. And in this position, you can feel more the upper part of the spine engaging. When we do the Cobra, we need to be aware of all these different sections of the spine. See if you can feel that upper part really stretching and the chest opening up. Let's take the elbows a little bit closer in now and lengthen the upper spine even more. See if you can grow upwards. If you press a bit with your elbows into the ground, you can lengthen through the upper spine. Let's take the elbows in a little bit further. Press the elbows into the ground and grow again through the upper spine. Just let the breath flow. And one more time, taking the elbows till they're absolutely vertically under your shoulders now. So this is the Sphinx position. And again, just think of that upper spine growing really long. Free breath. And come back down once again. So you can take your hands under your shoulders, elbows in the air. And now we're going to come right into the Cobra. And in the Cobra, we form a curved shape. I'm just going to demonstrate. We take up the head, the upper part of the spine, we can mentally picture the whole curve of the spine. This mental picturing activity is very important in the Cobra. If we were to do it instinctively, what happens is people just push up with the arms like that. But by mentally picturing the activity through the entire length of the spine, we can shape a smooth curve. Would you like to take your hands directly under your shoulders, elbows sticking in the air to begin with? Make your mental picture. Your whole spine is going to curve systematically downwards, starting with the neck, curving downwards. When you're ready, you can raise your head, take your awareness to the neck, to the upper part of your spine between the shoulder blades, that's the thoracic spine. Then the middle section, your rib cage area. Finally, the sacrum can press downwards. So you can keep that picture, that mental picture of the entire smooth curve of your spine. And come back down once again. Let's push back into child's pose. Let's do the Cobra one more time. And in fact, we'll set ourselves the challenge this time of holding it for a whole minute, but staying with this idea of mental picturing in watchful presence. That's been our theme for this morning. The mental picture of this curved line of the spine in watchful presence while we hold it for a whole minute. So you can come into the starting position. Keeping the face relaxed, make your mental picture before you start. Breath flowing freely. And now you can take your head up. Open up the chest. The middle part of your back. The lower part. And come into this position. Mental picturing in watchful presence. The breath flows freely. You keep the mental picture of that curved line of your spine. Just 10 more seconds. And then come back down again. And let's finish off in Yoga Mudra. You can just come back, taking your bottom onto your heels. Take the hands sliding out in front. And quite consciously lower your forehead down towards the ground. So Yoga Mudra, when it's done as a position in its own right, again, can have this very watchful presence of the body. You remain alert, you remain circumspect, overlooking the whole form of the body. With free breath. And then come up to a sitting position again. And we can finish our session there.